With the growth of information technology in recent decades, business practice have to take globalization into account. In particular, one feature of this worldwide market is the amount of different cultures around the globe. The purpose of our project is to analyze the interaction of globalization and different cultures and how it can affect business. Exchanges between countries have existed for a very long time. However, after industrial revolutions, countries started to produce in great quantities. There were inequalities of development, what led to different costs in labor force. For instance, it is more expensive to produce in rich countries. As a result, industries decided to produce abroad, where it would be cheaper. Subcontracting and offshoring were born. In order to illustrate this statement, we'll talk about Zara, a Spanish company founded in 1974, specialized in textile, and which is nowadays part of a multinational called Inditex. According to a representative of the brand, Amancio Ortega, founder of Zara, initially wanted to have both headquarters and factory in his hometown. Nevertheless, it appeared to him that setting up factories in countries like China, India, Turkey and Vietnam would be more profitable.
To find a cheaper labor is not as easy as it sounds. It is essential for a company to take into account the culture of the country in which it considers to set up a factory. Indeed, one of the very first obstacles is the language, but also customs, economic systems, laws, and finally the market strategy vary from one country to another.
Moreover, negotiations are generally an essential step during which you have to find agreements. The multinational Nestle, implanted all over the globe, put into practice the Think Global, Act Local strategy, which means adapting to the environment and to the customer wherever Nestle sells products. On the other hand, some companies want to keep their identity and broadcast their culture worldwide, mostly American companies. Indeed, 9 out of 10 US companies are the 10 most valuable fast food brands worldwide in 2016. The perfect example would be the number one fast food restaurant, McDonald's, founded in 1940, counting 14,360 restaurants in the US and over 25,000 restaurants in 116 countries. Every single restaurant has to cook the same way, with the same techniques, but always considering the location to fix prices or to know which type of meat they can use.
Another proof that it exists a relationship between globalization and culture is that we trade not only products, but also culture. Let's take the example of the Japanese culture of manga. These books are translated and present all around the world. All these examples permit to say that it exists a relationship between globalization and culture. Let's now begin the part 2 of our presentation in which we will demonstrate that globalization permitted different cultures to gather. Okay, so let's first take the example of Arabic Spring. Globalization led to the Arabic Spring. At that time, authoritarian regimes ruled in the Middle East countries. The censorship in these countries made very difficult any kind of demonstration against the government. However, thanks to Facebook and Twitter, which are pure products of globalization, the revolution has been made possible. Indeed, the protesters could, thanks to these two social networks, organize movement of rebellion against the regime. Let's take the example of Tunisia. At the moment of the Arabic Spring, the president was Ben Ali. He was president of Tunisia since 1987 and was re-elected each time there was an election. This is explained by the fact that the elections were shams. His presidency was corrupted and a lot of crimes were committed by Ben Ali himself. The Tunisian people, thanks to the social networks, coordinated a demonstration to protest against Ben Ali, and finally the Tunisian people managed to accelerate his removal from power. Such a victory wouldn't have been possible without Facebook and Twitter, and these events permit a conversion to democracy.
One of them in cultural convergence regard literature and art in general. To illustrate this statement, we're going to deal with the Harry Potter saga written by British author J.K. Rowling. The very first book of the saga, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, was published in 1997, beginning of a global phenomenon. According to BBC News, Waterstone's bookseller estimated that more than 2 million copies of the sixth Harry Potter book would be sold on the first day of its release in the UK, and 10 million worldwide. However, the final figures of a Harry Potter book's sales are ever more impressive and depict perfectly globalization in the 21st century. It is estimated that more than 450 million Harry Potter books have been sold around the globe in 200 countries and translated in 74 languages. Here is what a teenager from Cambodia explained to a BBC News reporter. I grew up in a country where English wasn't even a second language. Harry Potter books were what got me into reading in English. I have since then ventured to enjoy both classic and contemporary English literature, such as the work of Dickens, Austen, the Bronte sisters, Hugo, and many more. This comment illustrates perfectly the convergence of cultures. Furthermore, the last Harry Potter play, written by J.K. Rowling, broke records in France. Indeed, according to the French media group RTL, it is the first time a play written in English is number one in sales. To conclude, this literary saga is a perfect example of a cultural convergence due to globalization, with people from all around the world having read the same story. On February 2nd, 2017, Bloomsbury invited libraries from everywhere to organize a Harry Potter book night, once again connecting people worldwide through culture.
I'll be talking about the consequences of how globalization affects other countries and the way it affects cultures. For example, to distinguish third world countries compared to the Western countries, there have been many effects of globalization, such as the UK leaving Brexit. Due to UK leaving Brexit, it has affected jobs, trading, and other stuff. For example, in France, in Calais, many immigrants have been held back at the border due to the fact that UK is leaving Europe, which has caused a setback to jobs for them, and it's making it harder for both UK and Europe to do trading, which is causing less money to be coming in. And another example is Brazil. They're not a fully developed country, however, they have made some improvements. For example, the Olympics, they spent quite a few money on the Olympics, but it has caused an economic transition due to the fact that they spent so much money that they couldn't develop it in other areas of the country. However, having the Olympics going on in Brazil, they have learned the ways of the Western world. For example, the way they're presenting the country, they're making it into a sightseeing attraction, which is causing a lot of money to come in. That's it. Cut.
My name is Faisal Razak. I will be talking about the good consequences of globalization. First of all, what is globalization? Globalization is a process in which a country or a business develops themselves internationally, which can allow them to gain influence and start working on an international scale. There are many ways in which a country can benefit themselves. One is developing internationally. This can lead to a better living and influence. Then furthermore, it can lead them towards a better economical success. Another reason why globalization is a good consequence is because it leads to more efficient markets. This is one thing which every country is achieving for, and also it's a great way to go international, is because you could buy and sell goods overseas, and you're more likely to buy goods and sell goods at a lower price, which is a good effect on the business. And also, example for a franchise or a business going international is McDonald's, as they have opened branches across the whole globe, such as in Pakistan. This is good for the business because it is developing their brand and it would gain them more customers. So this makes it this is a good consequence towards the company.
Hello, my name is Ravinder here. Globalization is a key factor in cultural convergences. This is because there's been a lot of international trading which has helped businesses move their companies abroad. One of the advantages is that they have been able to create more jobs in the country they have moved into. For example, Coca-Cola has started up a new operation with South Africa which has helped them create more jobs and help them boost their economical growth. However, the consequences of cultural convergence is that there may be a language barrier between the employees and the manager. This means that employees may not be able to take direct order from the manager. To resolve this, the business may have to start to pay for English lessons or a translator. This means the business has to put more money into resolving this issue.
My name is Haida Jan Togus. I'll be talking about the negative points of globalization. First of all, there's small cultures who may lose their distinct features. For example, the Indians who live in Brazil, they're in danger because of their environments being wasted because of globalization. And there's another point which is due to culture convergence, is that the crisis in a single country can have a domino effect on other countries. For example, if you look at the example of subprime crisis which happened during 2008 in the US, this caused a crisis in the US, and this crisis spread to the whole world, which is a negative aspect.